Hello, everyone. Welcome back to FEM Talk Nation. It is that time. It is FEM Talk Tuesday, and we are excited to speak to you. So let me bring in the ladies of FEM Talk. We have Dr. Mimi Melissa Simmons.
Hello, FEM Talk Nation out there on a nice Tuesday night.
Absolutely. And we will have Shima Shishi coming in very shortly. But we are going to start the show first by putting this up only because, listen, this is our views and opinions, and we want to make sure that we air this to you.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the individual speakers, commentators, guests, experts, and our hosts. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the network, broadcaster, channel, and/or program's policy or the views held by this network, broadcaster, channel, or program. The network, broadcaster, channel, or program cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program.
All right, and we're going to bring Shima Shishi into the room here. Here we go. Hello, hello.
Hello. I don't know if there's a delay. I'm having some technical difficulties. Do you hear me?
There is a delay, but we can hear you. Look at the face.
I know. We can hear you, but it is a delay.
Yes. No need for the pouty face because we can hear you.
I'll be back.
All right. So, everyone, listen, you know that we love for you to ask your burning questions right here on FEM Talk. We would love to share our opinions and insights on any situation where you feel like you need some help. So make sure that you go to femtalktv@gmail.com and you share your burning questions. So it is that time. All right, so tonight's question is, I want a promotion at my job. The position is open, but I'm worried that I'm not qualified, even though I currently do some of the tasks. Should I approach my manager or should I wait for them to approach me? This is good. I'm going to wait and save mine. I'm going to let the two of you talk about this first. I'm going to save mine until the end. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Shishi.
We can't hear you. Did you put yourself on mute? Well, while we...
I was going to say, I was already saying, my answer is short.
Okay.
Because my feet...
We are having...
delays. Whichever one you want to call it. Wait for what? Delay.
Right. I heard that. Wait for what?
So, right. Go ahead, Dr. Melissa. Sum that up for her.
She said it all. Wait for what? I mean, God, and I don't know what this season's about, but I've literally talked to, I want to say 4, but one of the fourth woman I talked to, one of the 4, she was a lot more definite. She actually said, no, I could do the job. But I've recently talked to 3 different women, and all had this same kind of guess, like I'm not sure I can do this. And it kind of took me by surprise because after I talked to the women and I said, well, what is the, what are you doing? What does the job entail? Have you done this? And I'm getting, yes, I could do this. I could do that. And And, are you, one of them was working the job. Are you doing it? Yes, I'm doing it. I says, any problems in doing it? No, everything's going fine. And I'm like, so what are we questioning? What are we questioning? And I think it's coming down to self-confidence. There is a lack of self-confidence amongst some women business leaders. And I say it like that, because I totally do not get this reaction from men. Men are out there taking the jobs, experience or not, can do it or not. They are all out there saying they can do it.
That's
I
right.
think in the reverse, I've cleaned up more messes from after men than I have women, because women have done a better job. The ones that I followed, honestly. But the
Yeah.
men are, but a lot of the men, they left a nice little mess because they said they could do it and they couldn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas I think some women can do it. So I would just encourage that person to. Nobody's going to come and ask you for a job, and if they do, especially depending on the job, why should they? You should want the job, and I think an employer wants to see that you want the job.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has to ask you, even if you're the next in line. I think it should be something that you're aggressive about, and go and let people know, I am very interested. I know I can do the job, and not ask for it either. Kind
Yeah.
of, I think it's our disposition as we go towards these jobs and say, no, I could do this job. I think the job is mine, or I know
Yeah.
the job is mine. Be a lot more confident than you would be in a normal situation, because these are decisions that's going to make a big career. Is going to, I think, advance careers. Um, Clearly, you're going to get more. Hopefully, you're getting more income from it. And I wouldn't just sit there passively. If you know it's something you want, something you can do. Even you have it down. Let's say 60%. Go with the 60 and
Yeah.
do what you know how to do. I believe
Yeah.
these women, they have 90% as opposed to the 60. And if you're
Mm.
that, if you can go to a job description and check off, this is what I told a couple people to do. You can check off, oh, I could do this, I could do that, and you find that 90% of that job description you've checked off or have some type of relative experience in, then you're ready for the job.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you listen, I'm going to say this because you mentioned this part earlier, but go in with the confidence knowing that whatever you don't know, you know how to figure out. That you are
Yeah.
resilient enough, that you are intelligent enough, that you are forward thinking enough, that you are enough of a researcher, that you're going to be able to figure it out, that you're confident and bold enough to ask good questions in order for you to get there, because no one is ever really ready for, right, something new. No one is ever really ready for it. So take it on and decide that you're going to learn as much as possible, either independently or with someone who's there that will support you in efforts to help you get up to speed so that you will be ready for it, or as you walk into it so that you can do it. There's never a position that I've ever took that I was really ready for. I just went in it with the mindset that I'll just figure it out. I'll research enough, I'll ask enough questions, I'll be bold enough, and I'll figure it out. Right? I'm in that position right now because I'm doing something that I have not done before. Right? And I'm going in and I'm asking the questions and I'm figuring it out, because that's what we need to do in order to, like Dr. Melissa said, to be able to advance, to get to the next level. And I wanted to mention this also, just as much as your career is monitored by your manager, it should be monitored by you. So don't
Mm.
wait, like Shima said, wait for what are you waiting for? Your
Right.
career is up to you. And just like we talk about health and we talk about advocacy and health, well, when it comes to your career and your positions and when you want to move forward, you have to be an advocate for yourself in that
Absolutely.
area as well, in order for you to get the positions that you want, if you are ready or looking to move forward and to move up in your career. So be your own advocate, learn and absorb as much as you can, be bold about it, and get out there and get that position that you desire.
Absolutely.
I love it.
So
Yeah.
I want to put this on the screen, right? Because we want to answer more of your burning questions, and just wanted to put that in front of you. Make sure that you email us at femtalktv@gmail.com. We'll look forward to hearing from you.
Yes.
Yes. So we don't have any burning hot topics today.
Burning hot topics.
Right.
That's the problem. Nothing's
Right.
burning.
But we thought that, it is good to mention, just like it was mentioned on the show last week, to keep the people who are affected and who are dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, to keep them in your prayers, to support as much as possible. I know I'm in North Carolina, so seeing a lot of this happening here in this state, and my church here has definitely been putting forth efforts to get supplies and resources to that area in the mountains. They're only 3 hours away from us. So they've been doing that. But if you're not in North Carolina or in the surrounding states that have been affected, there are other organizations that are in your area that are helping to give relief to the people of the areas that got struck by Hurricane Helene. So make sure you find a place where you can go, where you can donate resources, money, food, water, clothing. They're asking for everything because the area has been devastated. But most of all, right, keep them in your prayers as well. And then just wanted to mention too, because we know that they are speaking on the news about Milton hitting Florida on Wednesday evening and into early Thursday morning. So we want to make sure, and even parts of Georgia as well, we want to make sure that we are praying for the people there as well. And hopefully they won't see the level of devastation that we did for Helene. So we're praying for that.
For sure. They're calling for full evacuation.
Yeah.
Of especially the Tampa area. Unfortunately, the hurricane is already projected at a Category 5.
Mm-hmm. Well, it actually moved today down to a 4. So hopefully once it hits Florida, it will be even lower. They're predicting. Even lower than that. Yeah, they're saying that it could possibly be a 3. But listen, with 3, right, the winds are still really strong, and the rain is still really heavy. Yeah.
There's still things that could happen. So we're just going to believe that, Milton calms himself down and everybody's safe in that in the whole state of Florida.
Yeah.
Specifically, the Tampa area.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And hopefully if you are bunkering down in any area that is on the path of Milton, that you have the supplies that you need. Go out, get fruit, get water, get, canned goods, dried foods, anything that will help sustain you, blankets if you need them, but anything that will help sustain you while you are dealing with the storm.
One of the things that, as you were just talking, Tracy, and we cover so many things. I think one time we should cover, what does an emergency kit look like?
Yeah.
Because I think more and more everybody needs to prepare. We're seeing things happen in areas that we're not accustomed to seeing.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned that, the mountain areas of North Carolina, they never got those kind of effects from a hurricane.
Yeah.
But things are changing. There's definitely a shift in the environment. And I think that'd be a great, conversation in terms of what you should have. Even today on Amazon, this is Amazon Prime Day today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow, yeah.
Amazon Prime. But I say that to say one of the things that was out was solar generators.
Mm-hmm.
That was on sale and came up in my feed a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So, these things are getting more and more real. And, a lot of people are going, sometimes at minimum a week, if not 2, without even lights or heat or everything, and all those things. So maybe that'd be a good thing to go through what emergency kit looked like.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say not even, because hurricane season, it hits hard at times, right? But I would say the emergency kit is good to go through for every situation because of what's happening around the world these days, right?
Yeah.
When you think about what's happening around the world, you need to be prepared with the items that we're going to give you, right? The items that we are going to give you to prepare yourself for any type of disaster, because we don't know exactly what's coming, right? There's so many different things that are happening in this world right now that you need to just be prepared. 1 to move, or 1 to bunker down, or 2 to bunker down.
Absolutely.
Right? So I love that idea. So we're going to look for that from us, everybody. We're going to be sharing with you what you need in order to survive a storm or some type of, natural or unnatural disaster, right? And I'm just going to say it like that and leave it there. But I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
So everybody, our topic for today, speaking about preparing for health and life, is turning down meat. Oh boy. As Shishi covers her eyes and Dr. Melissa covers her eyes.
Oh boy.
Down meat.
Oh boy, it's right.
So I'm gonna ask you, ladies, and listen, I'm gonna be fully transparent, right? I'm gonna tell my own little story here. Be fully transparent. I have turned down meat and picked meat back up, and turned down meat and picked meat back up, right? I'm listen, can't lie, gotta be transparent, right? Because when you grow up eating meat, right, it's a hard thing to put down, particularly when you're focused on being satiated, one, and two, getting in enough protein, which your body definitely needs. But there are ways for you to do that without meat. So this is something that I'm not going to say struggling with, because I'm not struggling with anything.
Right.
It's something that I am working on.
Working towards. I love that.
Towards, absolutely, because that chicken just keeps calling my name. But I wanted to just talk about this because it's a new trend. This is something we decided to talk about because it is a trend, right? So why do you two think that, people are going towards meatless forever, or meatless days, or meatless weeks? Or why do you think people are gravitating towards going meatless for some period of time?
I think it's so many different reasons. Like, it runs the gamut. Oh, you hear so many reports that the saturated fat is not good for you. Of course, if there's antibiotics, any kind of parasites or anything else that's not good for you, we know that. And then, all the other, I guess, unhealthy, the disadvantages you get from eating meat. But then you have on the other side everybody who's like, oh, get the protein. Oh, it's the easier source. Oh, well, the white meat is better than eating the red meat. And, it just runs the gamut. So you have all these people deciding, pretty much what works for you and your body. I mean, that's going to be the end all and the be all to it anyway, because I don't think you can nail down anything that says you should not eat this meat ever. Everybody should stop eating meat forever.
Well, I want to share something with you that I heard, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due, right? Because this is not mine, so I can't take credit for it. But this is something that Dr. Bobby Price said, right? And at a seminar that I went to, and he is plant-based. He does not eat meat, but he bases what he does on biblical principles.
Right.
And he talked about, the Bible, in the beginnings, right, where people did not eat meat. And then he said, he gets a lot of arguments where people say, well, if you look at Leviticus, this is where people started eating meat. And he said, well, if you really pay attention to Leviticus, this is where people started being disobedient. So it hit home for me when I heard him say that, because, I am a Christian and I do love the Lord. So it definitely hit home for me. But so when you think about that, there are some reasons why we shouldn't eat meat. There are a lot of reasons. I wanted to touch on some of them that you mentioned, right? And I'm going to go a little bit in a different route too, because of what I've been looking at lately and seeing out there. So of course, like you mentioned, there could be, additives and preservatives and hormones and antibiotics and chemicals, right? Nitrates and caseins and things like that, right? That are in the meat, that they are putting in the meat. But the other part of that is, can we trust the meat now because they're, growing meat in a lab? They're looking at feces to produce meat now, right? They're taking meat and making it with like these printers, right? They're taking particles, right, of meat and taking these large, what looks like printers, and making meat. So we're not really getting anything that has any real nutrients in it if we're eating that type of meat. And are they telling us that the meat that we're getting from the store, are those meats that were made in the lab, or are they actual meats that were grown on a farm, even if it does have all the other stuff in it, right?
Right.
So you just don't know what you're getting anymore.
Right.
It's more of a concern.
I think we have, it's true, but I think that goes for everything now.
Right.
It goes for everything.
Yep.
What are we eating? From water, right? To milk, to meat, to vegetables, to everything. Everything is now questionable.
Yep.
I think that's the society we live in. I am grateful that, to let me say, to an extent, that we do have a system here in this country that does kind of force people to be a little bit more honest than in other places. But again, I think the market is so big out there that it's just not I don't think it could be regulated enough to find everything that they may or may not be, and people just are not honest. Taking
Yeah,
that off
and
the
I
table,
was gonna say, I, I was
yeah, I
arguing
mean, not
for
dealing with that, right, exactly, not dealing with that though. I think meat, I think it's a decision. And I think a lot of people are finding that meat is not the easiest thing for their body. I know personally, meat has changed in my home for a number of years because we just found we still eat meat, but beef definitely has gone way down in our consumption.
Absolutely.
We do not eat beef. I love a good piece of steak. Let me not even try to say I don't. But that is like one a month, one every 2 months or something like that. It's definitely not something we do often. I've replaced that with more poultry type of things. And more recently, I'll just say, some of my family members had to go to a more vegan diet because of their health.
Right.
So I think, and let me say this: a doctor didn't say that it was necessary or required for their health, but they said it doesn't hurt to, get your gut in health and kind of give your body almost like a detox. And Tracy and Shima, y'all talk about that all the time. Is like kind of give your body a break because meats are harder to digest, and with your stomach and your intense intestines and all those organs working all the time and all of these heavier proteins to digest, those giving your body a rest and going through a detox, you could actually see, smell, and immediately see benefits of it. So for that reason, I've seen like I said, a few family members that had to do that.
yeah.
And because of that, I've learned how to myself make more vegan meals, which is not the easiest thing to do, but I'm determined to find healthy, good tasting alternatives for my family. So I've been as a matter of fact, tonight I made some air fried. I tried air fried egg rolls. It's not really egg rolls. It was more of a spring roll with cabbage and onions and all that kind of stuff in the egg roll, and I air fried them. And it turned out pretty good. So different things like that, I think, is something, and I use plant-based egg rolls. So again, trying to find alternatives to make things work.
Yeah, and I wanted to just look at this comment from Feliza. It says, I also learned that we were indoctrinated through the food pyramid that was designed to push the sales of meat and grains and milk. And that is so true, right?
Very true.
What we learned, and that was started early. It started early on in school. We were shown this food pyramid in school, and then that's what we were taught to eat. And then I want to even mention, just culturally being African American, right? And having to eat what we could back in the days of slavery, right? We adopted some of those ways because we were eating things that were given to us that we had to make good of in order for us to get food, right, to sustain our families at the time. So we kind of adopted some of those ways along the way, and it stuck with us. Right. And I just wanted to see what else she said here. It helps that there are more delicious vegan and plant-based options. Yep. Sure. So I wanted to challenge something because that's what I like to do. So I wanted to challenge something that you did say, Dr. Melissa, right, in terms of the standards, right, in this country. I don't think that our standards are as good as other countries. I'm going to say that because you do see that other countries, particularly in Europe, where they don't allow a lot of the things that we have in our food that we know are not good for us, are not allowed in other countries. So I did want to put that out there too, because standards are totally different, right? So when they are packaging meats, and I don't know if they're necessarily telling us, what it is. And I do know that lab-grown chicken in particular was actually approved by the FDA to sell in restaurants. I don't think it's made it to the grocery stores yet, but it is allowed to be sold in restaurants. So, and we won't know if that's lab-grown chicken or if it's chicken from a farm, unless you do have places where you can go where they're not going to disclose that they have, not that part. I'm saying there are places that tell you if they have farm fresh meat. If they get their meat from farms, they do usually advertise what farms they get them from and that they actually do that. So you might want to look for those places when you're going out to eat if you have them in your area. So I did want to mention that part. Hello, mommy. So,
I did want to as my computer and my system is going crazy and delayed. I know you're probably just catching up to what I'm saying right now. My what Feliza was saying that I said to her is I have a friend who is now vegan. And she said something so very plain to me that I probably would have never thought about. But all the meats that we eat, they're cooked with something, seasoning, oils, whatever. If you cook them with nothing, just flame them. No seasoning, no salt, no additives, no syrups, no dips, whatever, no basting, none of it. It has no taste. It just tastes like meat. Everything that we love so much, because I am a rib eye eater. Y'all know me. It tastes so good, but it tastes good because it's salted and it's peppered and then buttered and garlic and yeah. So it helped me to eat less meat because of that concept. Have I joined the never eating meat again crew? Not yet. I'm leaning towards that way. I haven't joined.
Absolutely. I had a friend say to me who has now gone completely plant-based, but she was talking about giving yourself grace and listening to your body. And when your body tells you, especially if you are being challenged and going back and forth and saying, I know I should, I know I shouldn't, I know I should, I know I shouldn't. She said, listen to your body, because your body's going to tell you when enough is enough. And once it does, then you'll be able to release that. What I have found is, because I told you my problem is chicken, what I have found is that chicken is starting to produce a lot of mucus, right? And I'm starting to, like, after I eat chicken, it's like I have to blow my nose or it has to come out of my throat. So it's like, okay, my body's telling me now enough is enough, right? So when like Shima said, when she just explained about the seasoning, as my taste buds start to change, right? And as I don't cook it at home for myself, though. That's the crazy part. It's just when I go out, right? But as I start to release the taste of it and maybe flavor other things in that manner, then I'll be able to release the chicken. So,
and I think that's the thing. I think and it wasn't it's not been the first time where for health reasons we've gone meatless and also back in the day sugar, sugar free on a lot of different things. But I think the key in really adapting a good vegan or plant-based diet is making it taste good. I think that's the key, is learning how to season foods using herbs and spices, natural herbs and spices, and really bringing the flavor to so many different dishes. I think that's how more and more people are gonna enjoy, and I think that's what's happening. I think the option to be meatless is much, I'm not gonna say easy, but it's easier than it has been. I remember let me see, I would say a good at least 15 years ago, I tried to do stuff with the kids, and it was hard. If I found things that did work, it was very expensive. And even in trying to make a meal and make the meal taste good, what options did you have? So I think now there are a lot more, the availability of different types of food to really try out to make it, taste really good. But I think you mentioned the mucus. Bacon, which I love, and pork, they also do the same thing where they increase the mucus in your body. And that's another reason why people put down even the white meat. They call it the new white meat.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take a quick commercial break, everyone, but I wanted to come back and talk about what Dr. Melissa was just mentioning and those meatless options, right? And what ones are good and which ones are not, right? Because all meatless options are not good. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Oh,
Right, and we are back. We are
Where
back.
she went?
She is fixing her technology there,
there
but
you go.
we're going to get back into this because I just wanted to talk about some of the meatless options that are out there, and to be careful, right, when it comes to plant-based options that you see that are not really healthy. So if you are not eating meat or deciding to lessen your meat consumption because you want to live healthier, you have to pay attention to those vegan options too, because they're not necessarily healthy for you as well. So when it comes to, and I've been guilty of this, because you can flavor those items the same way you flavor your own meat. But when it comes to like things like the Impossibles, the Beyonds, and those meat, those plant-based, I'm putting up my quotes, right? Those plant-based meat options, they're not healthy for you. I will tell you this, and all you have to do.
All of them are bad for you?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm asking the question because I know
Yeah.
that's been an option that I've used to do a couple of I guess recipe hacks. So you don't
Mhm.
use the meat. I'll use the plant-based in order,
Mhm.
to accommodate those that were coming for dinner or something like that,
Mhm.
that weren't eating meat. So none of them are good. So you can't you shouldn't use them.
No, I mean, rule of thumb really is to pay attention to the ingredients. If the ingredients aren't simple, it's not good for you. That's what I always tell people. If you don't know what the ingredients are, if you don't understand the ingredients, or you look it up, you Google it, and you see like, oh, this doesn't make sense. And if the name is too long of the ingredient, more than likely it's probably some chemical, some
Mhm.
GMO, something that is not good for you. So those options are really not healthy. And listen, I've eaten them. I've been guilty of eating them. So I'm not necessarily knocking it, but I want people to think about, if you're looking to make healthy choices, those are not healthy choices, right? And the majority of things that you would find in a package, right, are not healthy unless the ingredients are really simple. If the ingredients are simple and you know exactly what they are, then it's a healthy option for you in a package. Otherwise, no. Yeah.
Interesting.
And Felisa says walnuts for ground meat and oyster mushrooms for chicken. Absolutely. Both very, very good. I tested the oyster mushrooms and I fried them like fried chicken. They were absolutely delicious. And you can even pull it apart and it almost looks like, you're pulling apart chicken, but so, so, so good. Oyster mushrooms are a great substitute for, chicken, right? And I've even seen where you can wrap it in rice paper. If you get a good healthy rice paper and you wrap it in rice paper and you season the top of the rice paper and wrap the oyster mushroom in there, oh, absolutely delicious. So those are both really good options. Walnuts too, if you ground them good enough, they can take on the consistency and make you feel like you're eating meat. Oh, and she says jackfruit too, and she's giving us some good options here.
I've heard a lot about jackfruit being a good substitute for
Yeah.
meat. Yes.
Yeah. I haven't been able to cook the jackfruit to my liking
no,
yet.
me
I have
either.
to figure that part out, but I
I've only
haven't.
tried once, and it wasn't at one time, and I have not tried it since.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. I've not tasted good things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I learn more, I guess.
And listen, you can do other things for protein, right? Lentils, chickpeas, all good options. Black beans, red beans, all good options for for meats. As long as you season them the way that you want to, you will get that flavor that you want in your meal, and add it to your vegetables. And
Well,
it
what
tastes delicious.
about we talk about, like you and I talk about this one all the time. Of course, if you want to go straight vegan or vegetarian, depending on what your choice is, there's always the debate about eggs
Mm.
and
Well,
how people feel about eggs.
Well,
Like
eggs aren't vegan, right?
right.
Eggs are not vegan.
They are not, and I don't want to lose. I want to be able to say this here too. I don't want to use the term vegan loosely. I like to say plant based because vegan is so much bigger than just the food you eat. So I don't want to use that term loosely. But when you're talking about plant based, right, doing a plant based diet, the eggs are not included in that.
right.
So if you are choosing to not eat meat, but you want to continue to eat eggs, then that is a protein for you, right? And then I would say err on the side of buying eggs that are, responsibly, they have chickens that are responsibly raised, right? Where they don't have all the things that we listed earlier in terms of the antibiotics, the hormones, all those things. There are grass-fed chicken egg options out there for you to choose from. But again, that goes back to what Dr. Melissa was saying earlier, whether or not they are actually disclosing the right information on what you're getting. So some things you're going to have to just trust. But I would go back to, listening to your body and how your body is responding to the things that you are looking to release. Is it good for you? How does your body respond to that? Are you having too much mucus? Are you having, other signs and symptoms? Some people get headaches from eating certain foods, like whatever that is, listen to your body. Are you feeling fatigue and bogged down? And, from the food that you eat, all of that matters. Are you feeling like you can't release, what your body should be releasing when it comes to the food that you're eating? If that's happening to you, then you should think about changing to healthier options.
And let me ask a question, because both of you have lived, and worked towards a plant-based lifestyle. Is there advantage to having what some people call meatless Mondays, or we're gonna go meatless for this month, like almost like a like just periods of it? So not to give it up, but is there an advantage to doing those things, periodically? And if so, is that an alternative for some that aren't 100% ready to give everything up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say yes, right? Because less is better, right? The less you eat of something, right, that is not making you feel well, particularly if you're having signs and symptoms of it, the less of it is definitely going to be better. The less of it also, too, is going to give your body an opportunity, because you mentioned this yourself earlier, meat is harder to digest. So the less you eat, the less amount you eat is going to give your body the opportunity to digest more of your food better as well, because now you're not holding the meat in your stomach and in your intestines, right? So you're digesting better too, which is where your body needs to release and fuel itself with nutrition through your digestive system. So yeah, the less
test it out for yourself, because you can tell people all day long, this is what's good for you. It's all, like you said, less is better, but see how you feel, because and this is only my testament. When I don't eat meat as often as I do, because I am a 100% meat eater, when I have more veggies than that, or more grains on a day, or I just don't have any meat at all, I feel lighter. I literally feel lighter. I feel like I am passing like I'm supposed to. I don't feel bloated. I don't feel overly full. Not saying you can't get overly full or overdo it if you're eating a plant-based diet. It just, for someone who is a meat eater, and I decided to not eat meat today, that day I feel more energetic. Sometimes, depending, I even have clearer thoughts. So you really would want to, even if no one can coerce you not to eat meat anymore, take a day or two and try it and see what your thoughts are. See if your thinking is different. See if you're moving better or differently. If you're having the creaks in your knees and your elbows and stuff like that. If you see less inflammation in your body, even if you don't give it up, if you like less is more, you'll see less of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to address Nick's question too, because he said, what about juicing? So juicing is a great way to help your body release toxicity, right? Because it's a good way to catatonically get nutrients into your body. The only thing you have to be careful about is juicing for prolonged periods, right? Is you're not getting protein through your juice. Right. Most fruit and vegetables don't have enough protein to help sustain, unless you're doing it a lot, like you're putting in a lot of peas, or you're using beans or something that is really high in protein. So juicing is a great way to help you like fast for your body to release in order for you to start to take in more food. But you need protein. You definitely also need protein. You just don't have to get your protein from meat. So I wanted to address that question.
And I like, and I think that's for me personally, I think that's what I've tried to do, get better periodically, obviously reduce the intake of certain things that just aren't good for you anymore, right? Like you said, Shima and Tracy, I feel it when I'm dragging. I feel it when my stomach is like turning over, or saying, okay, that didn't work out today. So I believe that's I think we need to look at different options. But I would say this: I think everybody should relook at their diets. I talk to a lot of people, and not a lot, but I talk to a lot of old school people, and they're still trying. I could eat anything I want, and they know they really can't. Everything is not agreeable to your body, and after you hit a certain age, then all these symptoms start creeping up even more so in regards to what are you eating, what does your body look like, and there's so many different diseases and sicknesses now attached to eating and food and nitrates and a lot of things like that. So I think overall, even if the decision isn't I'm going vegan, I think most of us, all of us, need to really relook at our daily intake and really create something that is that at least puts more of, like you said, we learned this pyramid of meat and grains and all that kind of stuff, where we need to flip that and have our daily consumption include healthier versions like vegetables and not too much sugary fruits like berries and things like that, so that we know on a daily basis we're doing better for ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to mention something too. There is a correlation. I love when Shima talked about how you think clearer, right? When you start to eat better, right? There's a direct correlation between your brain here, your heart, and your gut. It's proven, it's scientifically proven. So don't take my word for it. Go look it up. Absolutely. Right? But your heart, you have a brain here in your head. Your heart has a brain. Your gut has a brain, and they're all linked together. They're all connected. So when you start to clear your body, and I'm going to say it in that way, your mind gets clearer. Your ability to think gets clearer. Feliza mentioned inflammation, right? All of that starts to be reduced in your body because there's a direct connection, right? Between you, even spiritually feel better. Right? It may sound funny to people, but it's not. There is a direct connection between all three of those parts of your body, and your intuition comes from your gut. When you start to clear up your gut, you'll also see your spiritual being, your intuition, all of that will start to clear up because you're clearing out all the toxicity that your body has, that your mind has, that your heart has, and everything that flows up and down your body. So I wanted to mention that because she said you think clearer.
Well, it's not by chance that, especially if you follow Christianity and even other religions. I know Muslims do also. People fast, and the reason for fasting is to be more in touch with God. Absolutely. You're not, because of you're not spending your day eating. You're committing your body to the Lord, and to that point, both Tracy and Shima, you're probably thinking better because you don't got all the nonsense in your body. Right. So now the ability to really, your spirit to connect with who you believe in is now a lot more pure. I always say, fasting is a purity that allows this exchange to happen in a better way. It's not, let me not say it's required, because some people will tell you that fasting, they'll tell you different things about fasting, but overall, the purpose of it is to become one.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this too. Things that I used to think were hokey in the past until I really learned about all of this, right? So your mind has the ability to heal your body. And it's all about your thought process and how you think and what you will, right? However, if it's bogged down because your gut is bogged down and then your mind can't think clearer, then you can't change your mindset and you can't will your body to heal. So there's a connection there that we need to start being aware of when it comes to taking care of ourselves. So I wanted to mention that too. And again, I'm going to say this from the perspective of I didn't necessarily believe in that either until I started researching these things, right? So it sounds hokey, but it's not, right? This intricate system that God built for us, right? It has the ability to heal. It is one of the most intricate systems. It can't be duplicated, right? It is a wonder of the world. They are still examining the human body and how it operates, and they still don't know everything about the body. Why? Because it's a miracle and it's something that God has given us. So when you start to honor that, right, and you start to utilize it the way that it was meant to be used, there's a lot that you can do for your body just by changing your habits, right, and changing your level of thinking, and you will be able to heal if you want to live a healthier lifestyle.
You know, one of the things I also wanted to mention, and to your point, you know, sometimes people think, you know, you're being hokey or you're being super spiritual, but if you follow sports and you follow the successful sport, you know, people that they their bodies don't break down as much, you will find that almost all of them are on a very strict diet almost all the time. One in particular that I'll mention, everybody knows who it is, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, who is by far, everybody would agree, one of the best players of football ever to exist. You saw he went into his 40s, not okay. He went into his 40s and got another Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And still was on the top of the pinnacle. But until he left, he was the one.
Yeah.
He
look
can
at
tell
his
you
diet.
it was his diet. His as a matter of fact, they're trying to promote him and his trainer and they are doing it successfully. Obviously, it's a higher end type of thing, but they're successfully pushing out their regimen because they realize. He said, "I don't give myself any credit. I follow my trainer. My trainer sized me up in terms of what I should eat, drink, and how I should work out in order for my body to perform at its peak." At peak performance for me to be successful in the game I play. So, you know, this is not hokey. This is so many people who are whose body is our body is should always be our temple. But people in sports, their body is their money maker, literally. And when they take care of their body is able to do what they needed to do in order to perform at its peak.
What a great example. I'm so glad that you mentioned that too, because and Feliza just said it here too, right? It's the diet, it's the exercise, and it's sleep, right? But that the correlation between what you eat and movement, right? And I'm saying movement because everybody can't exercise like Tom Brady. But when you start to move your body a lot more, you'll start to see how your immunity starts to increase, right? That inflammation that we talked about earlier starts to decrease, and how your body starts to transform in ways that you would not even imagine if you start to get movement. And I'm not just talking about going to a gym and exercising. That is not the way for everybody to do it. But if you started walking, right, every day. I live in a neighborhood where every evening, the husbands and wives, and sometimes they have their strollers with them too, but they are out walking. She's friends and neighbors. She comes and she yells at neighbors when she's here. But my neighbors are always outside, right? And you see that they're pretty fit, right? They're pretty fit, but they're outside every day walking. And I can't say whether or not they go to a gym. I don't think that they do though. But they're outside walking every day. And I know my mother was on here earlier, and she can attest to this too, because when she decided that she wanted to lose weight, she started walking, and she was walking every day, and her body started to transform. So it's about movement. It's about getting some type of movement every day intentionally, not just, I came home and I walked from my front door up my steps to go get myself ready for bed. No, it is,
Real movement.
intentionally doing some real movement, and it could
But
be,
it's culture. If you watch, I mean, again,
yeah,
we don't have to say that. If you see like Asian cultures, they are
Mhm.
walkers. That's
Yeah.
what it's not by chance a lot of them are living to 90 and 100 into
That's
the
right.
100.
Yeah.
Indian cultures
Mhm.
are very, they you see them, my daughter lives in a neighborhood with a large population of Indian
Yeah. And
uh,
that's
uh, uh,
that's
um
here culturally too. That's
yeah, Indian
Mhm.
families. And I tell you, come 5, 6 o'clock, they are out there walking
Yes, they are.
and older, and
Yep.
they're living into, they're in their 80s and 90s. So again, I think there's a couple of things, takeaways from tonight is that, it's important that we do cherish our bodies. Um, you know, it's the eating of whatever is causing your body not to perform at its peak.
Yeah.
And when you see that, make adjustments. But
Mhm.
any way we can keep our bodies, between movement and eating and sleeping.
Yeah.
Honor your body so that it can give you the life that you're looking to have. I want to live into my 80s, and I have to I have to do all of that in order
Yeah.
to um
Absolutely.
health in a healthy way live into my 80s. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that's going to work.
And I want to give you my 5 basics. And you just mentioned the three that Feliza said earlier, right? It's about what you consume. And I'm saying what you consume because what you consume is your diet,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's also some of the products that you use, some of the things that you're watching on TV, books that you read. So it's about consumption. That's number one. Number two is exercise. Number three is sleep. We mentioned all of
Mm-hmm.
those. The number four, big one, right? Water consumption, making sure that you're drinking water. And number five that I always put out there is have some joy, some enjoyment, some fun, some fulfillment outside of what you do for work, career, family, right? Some type of fulfillment and joy that you're bringing to your life that's going to allow you to think positive, move differently, live better, be happier, enjoy the sunshine, whatever that is for you. So those are the 5 basics that you could do that you can incorporate into your daily life that is going to allow you to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yes. Yes.
Yay. So everyone out there, we love you. We love you. We thank you for all of your comments. It sounds like, and Feliza, I saw that you were going to send that jackfruit recipe. Please send that over to us at FEM Talk as well. I'm trying to figure that thing out. So please send that over. I want to see that. But we love you all out there. Thank you so much for being here. And we will see you all next week right here on FEM Talk, everybody.